So the question was asked as to what the best method of coloring in a black and white photo is. I saw the method that was being used. I don't know exactly what it was that was used to color in the four individuals in the foreground here, and it worked pretty well. My way is a little bit more simplistic, and it seems to be more effective. I've seen this done dozens of different ways, and really there's no wrong way to do it per se. But when it came down to the question that I saw of how to color in the background bushes here, you seem to be a little stumped. So I'm going to show you my method, and hopefully it's advantageous to you all. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you have your layer set ready to go, and you're going to click on a new layer, which is a button down here. And when you click on that, it opens up a new layer, obviously. And with that new layer selected, which in this case I'm going to name it bushes, since we're going to do that first, you're going to change the blending mode, which is right here versus normal. You're going to make that into color. Now what color does is it changes the blending mode of the layer so that when you paint with the paintbrush tool on a color, instead of it being an opaque brush stroke, it actually, if you'll notice, it kind of is a little bit transparent in color, which is exactly what you want. Because what you're going to do is you're going to paint it and then you're going to adjust it afterwards in the way that you you think is fitting for the image. So let me just find my history palette here. I'm a little bit disorganized. I just reinstalled Photoshop. There it is. And I'm going to delete the last two strokes I did because obviously we don't need those. Okay, so let's do what we got to do here. So you want to get the bushes. So my suggestion always is to zoom in, and we're going to just paint with a typical green color. I mean, I choose something around this range for now. We're going to adjust it in a minute anyway. And we're going to do a, I'm doing a sloppy because I'm rushing, obviously. But you can spend more time on it, and you can always go back and erase it later with like the eraser tool, or you can use different brush strokes. You can obviously use different brush sizes to get it better. It's pretty much hit or miss as far as your painting goes. What you can do, my suggestion is always paint too much. You can always take out. Personally, I would do this slightly different with layer masking, but I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. So I'm just gonna do it very sloppy for now. And I know obviously you're gonna have green ears and all that wonderful stuff, but I'll fix it when I'm done with this part of the tutorial. I'm gonna stop right here because there seems to be bushes and all this stuff down here, and there's grass in the bottom. We'll get to that later. Okay, so let me zoom back out here, and you'll see it looks pretty wretched. Like the green color is kind of bright. It doesn't look like it matches very well. But here's where it gets fun. Take the opacity and lower it down to a good value, and you can see automatically it already looks better. I mean, it's a little bit too greenish to me still. I'm going to keep it like around 17%. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the layer here, and I'm going to duplicate it by clicking on the new layer icon down here, and it's going to make a copy. With the copy selected, it says Bush's copy here. I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, Hue, and Saturation. Oops. Let me actually choose the right tool this time. I apologize. It's almost 3:46 in the morning here, and I'm doing this. Anyway, so with the hue saturation panel up, I'm going to choose colorize, and I'm going to choose a brownish color in the hue, which if you look in the bottom bar over there, you'll see it changing, and that's a pretty brown color. I'm going to raise the saturation a little bit, lighten this down a little bit, and let's change the hue a little bit more towards a darker brown, and that looks good. And then I'm going to lower the opacity of this one down even a little bit more. And what this does, it kind of adds a little bit more of a woodsy feel to it. Not sure if you can see in the video, but here it looks very green, and when I turn the layer back on, it's more brownish, which makes it look a lot more real. Once you've done that, you can go back with your eraser tool, which I'm going to do, and I'm going to kind of clean up my slop job here that I did. And this is how you'll do it too if you want to do it the easy way. Like I said, personally I would have done it layer masking and all that stuff, but I'm not going for a very advanced tutorial here. I'm just trying to get the technique down. However you want to apply it, that's really up to you. Okay, so then you got the floor grass. So I'm going to do that really quickly to kind of reiterate what we did before. New layer, going to name it grass, change the blending mode to color. I'm going to choose a very green color again, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, and we are going to color. Sorry for what seems like a sarcastic tone here. Like I said, it's a little late, but this is apparently the only free time I have, so I'm going to do you a favor and see what I can do as quickly as possible for the sake of this video. I only got, they only give me about 10 minutes of recording time on these things, so I'm kind of rushing it. Obviously, you want to take your time when you're doing this. Don't follow my example and speed through everything, because honestly, you're going to regret it. I saw that, you definitely know your way around Photoshop a little bit if you know how to color the stuff in. So, I'm just showing you my way of doing it. And the reason why you keep it on separate layers is because you can always adjust the colors later if you decide that you don't like the hue of the green you used. I'll show you in a second how to fix that. Or if you think it's too dark, too bright, because when you're doing this coloring stuff, as great as it is, when you have the rest of the image colored, you'll realize that some of the colors don't seem to work right. So to fix that, you'll just have to go back and adjust it. And again, I did this really sloppy, really quick. Obviously, it's not all the grass. That's just enough to get the idea. And again, lower the opacity down a little bit here. And it looks like that's a good color for grass the way it is. I don't think there's really any dead grass, but I am going to still do hue saturation because I'm going to adjust the green amount. So I'm going to colorize. It's like a green is right there. Let's saturate a little bit more. And you can see the real-time preview in the corner there as you do it. And bingo. Okay, so there you go. That's my technique for doing this stuff. And it also works for faces and stuff too. And I'll show you real quick. I'm going to choose a really weird orangey color for the face, which is definitely not going to be the final output, so it's going to look funny for a minute. And, oop, see? That's what you do when you don't do colorize. There you go. Okay, let's just color this in really quick. Looks a little bit like an Oompa Loompa. That's exactly not the effect we're looking for. Okay. Then we're going to go to the hue saturation tool. Image adjustments, hue saturation, colorize. Make sure you click colorize when you do this stuff because otherwise you're not going to get what you want. That looks pretty decent. Lower the saturation down a little bit to make it more believable. And there you have it. And like I said, keep it all separate layers because if later you decide you don't like it, it's not permanently done. Your black and white is still there on the bottom. You know, just the layers are all on top of it. You want to stay organized. You know, you want to make sure you keep everything as labeled as possible so that you can go back and find it later without any problems. But overall, that's my technique for colorizing as far as the simplest way goes. And then overall, when you're done, if you're happy with it, you can always kind of do post effects to kind of make it more blended. You know, you can use different blending modes to kind of mesh it better, and then overall adjust it from there. And it kind of adds to believability of the image if you know, you kind of find ways to blend it better. I'm going over the top here just to show you. So there you go. It works out for me. I don't think that last part was really necessary, but again, I'm a little bit delirious. You're going to have to excuse me, and I apologize for talking kind of fast, but hey, hope this helped, and if you need any more clarification, please let me know. I will do what I can to check as much as possible and to help you out. Alright, good night.